Hi there, I'm Ken. In a previous video, I talked about why you need a superior database analysis. I did that video in response to current research from the Chronicle of Philanthropy that showed rising challenges in fundraising. It leads now to another question, and that question is, how do you choose the best database analysis possible? What key questions do you ask before you make that decision? What makes it the best? To be clear, we're talking about database analysis that will launch a proactive program to secure leadership, major, and planned gifts for your organization. Those areas of fundraising that will be the mainstay of charitable organizations in the future. This kind of an analysis measures the strength of relationship of supporters, affiliates, with the mission of your organization. It's that measurement of relationship, strength of buy-in to the mission, if you will, that will determine gift outcomes. These are the questions you have to ask every provider of a database analysis to find out if it's the best possible. So let's go into those questions and really analyze them. And there's 7 of them. Here's the 7 questions. The first question: what is the data source of the algorithm? The data source of the algorithm, you're asking me? Yes, it's critical. Every analysis is driven by a specific algorithm, which is an elaborate equation that you apply to the data in your database. The question there is, how does that algorithm formed? What was the source of it? Was that created by someone's idea, or was it based on real-world data? There's 2 opposing ways to create that algorithm. One is someone thinks up, I think if we take donors who have done this and maybe have done a little of that, let's try that algorithm and we'll test it. That's one way. The other way is to take accumulated real-world data, and the more data, the better. And it's the result of actual transactions. And look at as many as you can, and then look at the deciding factors on what made people say yes or no. You want an analysis based on precise real-world data. The more the better. It holds the most accuracy. You can trust it. That's question number 1. The next question: does it use every data point available? Strange question. Of course it does, you say. Not necessarily. Every data point on every individual details the relationship with the organization. Every little piece of information you have will fill out the nature and strength of that relationship. Data is in various places. Will the analysis use every bit of data, every bit of information, even if it's on a spreadsheet somewhere, or it's on a list, on a Word document, it's in a list from a newsletter distribution? When we get into organizations, we find data is housed in all sorts of different places. To be the best, it should use every data point that you can get your hands on. That's the second question. Question number 3: does it zero in on everyone with precision? You say, well, of course it does. Not necessarily. Some analysis will drill down only to groups of individuals, such as the use of census data. And there's people out there selling database analysis based on what postal walk people are on. That's a block, a city block. In high-end fundraising, targeting, you must consider every individual separately, not as part of a group. You then have the confidence to engage an individual, each prospect, knowing that the strength of their relationship with the organization and its mission is accurately scored and measured. That's what you need in the best kind of a database analysis. Next question. Is the output only relational? What do I mean by that? Many analyses are only relational. That means this individual is a better prospect than that. Hence, one fellow there on the screen is a better prospect than the next, and better prospect than the next. That's a relational kind of analysis. Or the opposite is it predictive in the real world? This is this one question splits a database analysis. And what do you want? Well, if it's predictive, it's very different because it determines how and why you use the analysis. How you use it, why you use it. So strategically, because if you can predict outcomes, you then have pinpoint accuracy in deploying certain tactics. That means when I do this, engaging a prospect, this is the outcome. When you have that degree of specificity, you can put your database analysis to work in important and strategic ways. That's what you want. Question number 5. These are tactics. Well, and these are what we call engagement tactics. Keep in mind, we're talking about the area of leadership, major and planned gifts. This is philanthropy. This is where you start to work with individuals. So there are the following tactics of engaging individuals. One is face-to-face. That's the best, by the way. Highest conversion always. The next is hiring someone to phone a lot of people. They can be well-trained. It's another tactic. The next is use of surveys, and those have grown over the last 10 years and getting pretty good results, especially in the area of planned gifts. Another is the use of seminars, inviting people in, or workshops, Zoom seminars or webinars. Do it with groups of potential donors. Another technique. Another use is direct mail, which we do a lot of in the annual fundraising. But we're not talking about annual fundraising here. We're talking, because you're not going to necessarily get at least the kind of database analysis I'm talking, it's for the higher end gifts. And finally, just general broadcast advertising. Those are the tactics. Here's the question. Can the analysis be applied to different tactics that have different costs associated with them? And as you can imagine, these particular tactics all come in different with different price tags. So let's look at it. Some analysis can only be used for one tactic, usually sold by the service provider. Okay, you do a database analysis, you get the results, it has individual scoring, but to apply it with known outcomes is only works for one tactic that someone's selling you. That's not what you need. You need an analysis to be useful for an array of tactics and ideally be predictive for each of those tactics at different costs, because it's not efficient to use the same tactic for individuals with different propensities. Just if you look at these tactics, which tactic do you think you use with your best potential donor? People with the highest score. Well, I'll tell you, you go face-to-face with them, because that is the most effective way to deal with high-end potential donors. So you marry up the propensity, the likelihood of the gift, with the type of tactic that's required. That's how you structure a complete proactive program. You match the highest likelihood with the highest cost and the lowest with the lowest. The next question, and you must ask this question of anyone talking to you about a database analysis: can it be put to use easily? I've too often found expensive database analysis just sitting on the database, not used. Metaphorically, sitting up on the shelf. You go to all the expense and effort to create the analysis, but what do you do with it? Is it easy to use? Does it involve complicated queries just to get a small group of people to talk to? Does the analysis come with the right tools, hence the tools, to put the scoring to work easily in everyday fundraising? This is essential for any database analysis. Practical use, but also strategic. By that I mean you can do what ifs. What if we go to this group of people this way and this group that way? What will our results be? This will help you in creating budgets, proposing staffing models. That's what a good, superior database analysis will do. It leads to question number 7. Does it have accurate, predictive capabilities? Are those outcomes that it predicts, are they accurate? Can you hang your hat on it? If the analysis can predict accurate outcomes, you can create an actual business plan with efficient use of resources. You have confidence in the results based on sound science of predictive outcomes. It changes the way you do this high-end fundraising. So to summarize, the questions you must ask. The first one was, what is the data source of the algorithm? Is it just testing theory, or is it built on hard data from the ground up? The right answer is obvious. Does it use every data point available? Every piece of data you can get your hands on? Or does it use only the database? Or every data point, every list, every little piece of information you have on the strength of the relationship? What's your choice here? Well, you use every data point available. Does it zero in precisely on everybody? Does it focus only on groups? Well, this group of people here. Or does it pinpoint everybody's individual relationship? All of the things that add to that relationship. You want to zero in on every individual. Is the output only relational? This person's more likely than that person, comparing this one and that person. Or do you want accurate predictions in individual outcomes? Because if you're going to build a superior proactive program, that's what you need. Can it be applied to different tactics at different costs, or can it only be used for one tactic at one cost? No, that's not a complete program. You can't afford. You're going to have to choose different tactics for different likelihoods of positive outcomes. You predict outcomes then for an array of tactics. Then you can make your decisions strategically, marrying up the resources you have with the best outcome. Can it be put to use easily? Do you have to do difficult queries? Because guess what? You'll never do them. And I've watched this time and time again with organizations. Or is there simple dashboards that allow you to do a lot of what ifs? What if I took 150 people from this group with these score ranges? And what will happen if I use this tactic or that tactic? What are the outcomes? And those outcomes lead to the last question. Are they accurate? Are the predictions accurate? And if you built the database the right way with the right algorithm, go right back to number one, the source of the algorithm. And if you don't do it that way, you can't predict real outcomes. And I've got underneath the hood with a lot of database analysis, and I look at that algorithm, how it was built, and the result is, can you really trust the outcomes? Well, you want to be able to accurately predict the outcomes if it's built the right way. So those are the 7 questions to ask. So this video provides the questions to determine if the data analysis offered is the best there is. And by the way, the most expensive is usually not the best. But sometimes the most affordable database analysis is actually the best. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. Look for the next video in this series, and that is, how do we at Avatar Consulting take our own advice and try to build the best database analysis possible in the fundraising world? I want to show you how we challenged ourselves with those 7 questions and turned around and built what we think is the best. Thanks for watching as always. And again, good fundraising.